What's going on, guys? Austin here from GraphIt. In today's video, I'm going to share with you the 5 major muscle building mistakes and the solution so that you can avoid them. Muscle building mistake number 1, always training in the same rep range. Now, what do I mean by this? I mean the guy or girl that goes in the gym every time and trains in the same rep range, does the same amount of reps for the same exercise. This is a problem, and probably what you've often heard, in order to build muscle, you must stay in like the 6 to 12 rep range. Yes, that does have a lot of validity. You do elicit a lot of muscle growth when you're in that targeted range. However, it doesn't mean that you should just limit it to that range. You're still gonna build a fair amount of muscle in the rep range of 1 to 5 reps, and you're also gonna build a fair amount of muscle in the rep ranges of 13 and upward. It doesn't mean that you should just limit it to 6 to 12. You wanna get every end of the spectrum. And the reason you wanna train in the 1 to 5 rep ranges is because it's gonna be more strength-based and it's gonna actually train your central nervous system, which ultimately over time is gonna allow you to place more of a heavier load in your 6 to 12 rep range. When you focus on going on the other end of the spectrum with lifting in rep ranges of 13 reps and upward, you're going to elicit more time under tension. And when you place more time under tension on a muscle, it's going to grow. Point being, it's vital that your whole workout routine contains a vast variety of these rep ranges. What is the solution to this? Just like I said, make sure that your workout program contains at least 1 to 5, the 6 to 12, and 13 and upward. One thing to keep in mind is you want to structure it correctly. If you're doing heavier stuff, do it in the beginning of your workout. If you're doing more of the 6 to 12, more towards the middle to the end. And if you're doing the higher rep, that can be after, again, the heavier stuff, the 1 to 5 stuff. Muscle building mistake number 2. Big common thing I see is that people limit it to one way. So often I've heard is that you can only do it one way. You can lift heavy and do compound movements, or you can do isolation movements and lift lighter and focus on symmetry. And I'm here to tell you guys today that either one is right and they're both wrong actually too. You shouldn't limit it to just one way. You want to have a variety of two, because at the end of the day, you got to have the heavy stuff, you got to have the compound stuff in order to elicit more size, more mass. You also need more of the isolation-based stuff to give yourself symmetry, to give yourself aesthetics, so you don't have any imbalances with muscle. So it's important to not neglect either. It's important to have both of them in your workout routine. So what is the solution? Like I said in the previous mistake, you want to focus on structuring your workout correctly. So the beginning of your workout should be more of the compound-based movements, and the end of the workout should be more of the isolation-based stuff. So for an example, the beginning should be more of your bench press, your squat, your deadlift, your chins, your rows, all that stuff in the beginning, the bulk of the workout. Towards the mid part, towards the end, you can focus on the isolation stuff, the stuff that's not going to require as much energy as the compound stuff does. So your bicep curl, your tricep press down, things that are going to really target one particular muscle group. Muscle building mistake number 3. Now this is doing too much cardio. You should not neglect cardio when you are building muscle. One of the big reasons is when you have cardio in your routine, it's going to help speed up recovery. So you're going to go into your next session feeling refreshed. Also, you want to do it because it's just good to have cardiovascular health. When you're doing your working sets in your workouts, you're not going to be as fatigued. You're going to have a little bit more endurance going into the next set. So in order to build muscle, you must be in a caloric surplus, meaning eating more calories than you are burning. When you're building muscle, you need that surplus. So by doing more cardio, you're doing more harm than good. You're really limiting yourself, and in a way, it's catabolic. And if you're like me, if you're doing HIIT cardio too, and you add that into a muscle building routine, the problem with HIIT is it puts such a demand on your central nervous system. It's very fatiguing on your CNS. So it's really gonna inhibit your body's ability to recover, not just physically, but mentally. You're gonna feel like total shit if you're doing all this cardio on top of your lifting. What type of cardio do you wanna do when you're building muscle? You wanna focus on either high intensity or low intensity, but be mindful of, if you're doing high intensity, don't overdo it. Do it on off days, or do it on days where you have a recovery day coming next. And low intensity, you can get away with doing that on really any day of the week. Just make sure you're not overdoing it. What is the solution to copious amounts of cardio. It's very simple. You don't want to cut it out, and you also don't want to overdo it. You need to find that happy medium. We all know that happy medium we need to find. This is the one with cardio. Depending on your body type mainly, so if you're an endomorph, ectomorph, or mesomorph, depending on one of those body types, I recommend that you focus on the amount of cardio per your body types. Starting with the ectomorph, the naturally skinny guy, focus on doing no more than 1 session per week if you're trying to build muscle. Mesomorph, no more than 2 to 3 sessions. I would say more than 2, and if you're trying to build muscle. And then endomorphs, no more than 4, no less than 2. Keep in mind that it should be anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes of steady state. And if you're doing HIIT, anywhere from 5 to about 20 minutes of HIIT is ideal. But remember, you want to base it upon your particular body type. Muscle building mistake number 4, doing the same routine over time. The problem is this, is that the body is very sophisticated, and when you do the same routine over time, the body adapts easily to change. And whether you know it or not, your body's gonna adapt. You're doing the same thing over again. It doesn't have any new stress placed upon it, so it cannot grow. And this is vital for overall building muscle. You need to put your body in a state of metabolic stress so that it can grow. If you don't change up your routine quite frequently, then you're not gonna change, and you're not gonna see muscle grow. You're not gonna see a difference. You're not gonna see your body composition change. So you have to constantly be putting some type of demand that's gonna really alter your body to do something different. Basically, what this means is that by changing up your routine frequently, you're allowing your body to build more muscle. You're allowing your body to grow faster. So what is the solution to this problem? Rule of thumb, if you change up your routine every 4 to 6 weeks, that's probably the good spot. I mean, that's generally where you see your body start to really plateau. So changing your routine every 4 to 6 weeks, you're gonna be okay. Things like changing your exercise, your variations, your angles, your grip, things that are gonna really alter your body. Muscle building mistake number 5, the final one, and I'm sure you maybe skipped ahead, or maybe you've been waiting for this one, and this one is by far, undeniably, the most important one of them all. I see a lot of people skip out on this one. This is usually why people don't have continual gains, or they hit a plateau, because they neglect this important principle right here. And this principle is progressive overload. So what progressive overload is just how it sounds. Increasing total training volume over time. So think of it like this. It's increasing your sets times reps times weight over a period of time, and that is what yields to greater results. People hit plateaus because they don't allow themselves to, or they don't push themselves to lift more weight, to lift more reps, to do more sets over time. They don't increase their volume, and they don't see a change. I mean, it's as simple as that. It sounds crazy that it's that black and white, but it really, when it comes down to building muscle, it's all about progressive overload. All these other things I said today, yes, they are important, but this one, I would say, is at least 80% of all those things I said. This is 80% of really everything. Make sure when you go in there, you're changing up your routine, you're adding more weight, you're most importantly putting this principle into play. You are doing progressive overload, whether it be increasing your volume, increasing your reps, increasing your weight. Those things over time are going to lead to the biggest results. What is the solution? It's very simple. Just implement the principle of progressive overload in your routine. So what I mean by that is every time you go to the gym, whether it be increasing your weight on a working set, whether it be increasing just an extra rep than you did before, or whether it be increasing an extra set in general, that yielded over time, that compounded over time is what's gonna lead to greater results. It's gonna lead to you building more muscle. Now you know the 5 major muscle building mistakes and what to do, the solutions, so that you can avoid them. So if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel up there, down there, I think that's where it is. And make sure to watch our weekly videos we got coming out every single week or every other week. That is going to be all, but now you know what to do, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.